Welcome back, everybody, to Wednesday. It is Wednesday. What's the hell is this show called? Fantasy Football with McLovein. Yeah, Fantasy Football, week number 3 with McLovein. Football! Get ready for football. Yeah, big sweaty men. Sweaty men. And that whole thing is an inside joke that somebody at work acts like that whenever you talk about football. Because he knows everything, because it's football. So anyway, all right, so a little bit better with your college picks last week. Let's go over them.
Okay.
You didn't do that great. I think you went 2-3, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So Clemson, Louisville, I don't know. I think you lost that one,
yep.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
Kentucky, Florida, that was a no, right?
What was the spread?
Kentucky plus 4.5 over Florida.
Yeah, they lost by 5.
Okay, so you lost that one. Georgia Tech was plus 3 over Notre Dame. You lost that one. Notre Dame killed them, I think.
Yeah,
even with their quarterback
they took them out to the woodshed.
And then Western Kentucky, Indiana, you got that one correct. And then Ole Miss and Alabama, Ole Miss won.
Ole Miss won outright. I don't know if anyone watched this game. It started at 9:30 on the East Coast, so I bared it out till 1:30 in the morning. But Ole Miss beat them outright on their own field. So 2-3,
2-6 overall now.
2-6 overall with my college picks, but things are going to get better, and I promise that. If you guys are even playing these picks, I highly doubt it, which is fine. Like I said, look, I'm just here to help you out, you guys, but I highly suggest, getting involved.
All right, so let's go with the college picks this week. What do you got?
Okay, the first game is a Friday night game. Stanford is playing Oregon State. We're taking Stanford minus the 15.5. All right? Next is Duke, home against Georgia Tech. These are all Saturday games. We're taking Duke plus the 10. BYU, on the road against Michigan. We're taking BYU plus the 5.5. BYU's been playing outstanding football. They covered last week against UCLA. Michigan, new head coach, used to work for the guy. But BYU plus the points on the road at Michigan, at the Big House. Next game, we're taking Texas plus the 3 versus Oklahoma State. Texas coming off a bad loss. They're at home. They need to rebound, so we're taking Texas plus the points, plus 3. Next game, we're taking Texas Tech plus the 8.5 against TCU. Now, TCU is third in the country, but they haven't played like they're third in the country. We're going to take Texas Tech, who's at home, and take the 8.5. So Texas Tech plus 8.5. Ole Miss minus 24.5 against Vanderbilt. Ole Miss coming over a huge win. Vanderbilt's not so good this year. I think they're going to take it to them. They're going to lay it down. They're going to ground and pound. And they're going to kick the shit out of them. So Ole Miss minus 24.5. Next,
Ole Miss is favored by 24.5. Is that correct?
Yeah, Ole Miss minus the 24.5.
So that means they're favored.
They're favored. They have to win by 25 points.
Okay. Otherwise, you lose.
Otherwise, I lose.
Okay.
Arkansas. Plus the 7.5. The Razorbacks against Texas A&M. They're also at home. That's a tough place to play. Arkansas, they need to play better football, and under their head coach, they will start playing better football. I guarantee you that, and they're going to cover with the 7.5. So Arkansas plus the 7.5. Next game, we got Missouri plus 3 at Kentucky. Now this is going to be a great game. Missouri actually played for the against the University of Connecticut, a place I used to work, and it was 6-3 of final. So UConn brought it, and Missouri just luckily held on. I think, once again, they're going to come out, and they're a better football team than what they've shown. And they will they're at Kentucky, but we're going to take Missouri. I'm going to have them outright, but we'll take the 3 points with Missouri. UCLA, minus the 3.5 at Arizona. UCLA's coming off a bad game. They're going to want to rebound against an Arizona team who scores a lot of points. UCLA can put up a lot of points as well. I think in the end, a 4-quarter game, UCLA is going to cover the spread. So UCLA minus 3.5. Last game, we're taking ASU, Arizona State University, plus the 6 over USC. Okay? USC has been up and down so far. They just got upset by Stanford at home, which usually Stanford gives them a hard time, but even at home, the Coliseum is a place where they don't usually lose. I'm going to take Arizona State at home plus a 6 versus USC.
All right, so quickly run down the picks. Here we go.
Stanford minus 15.5. Duke plus 10. BYU plus 5.5. Texas plus the 3. Texas Tech plus 8.5. Ole Miss minus 24.5. Arkansas plus 7.5. Missouri plus 3. UCLA minus 3.5. Arizona State University plus 6.
All right, so guys, remember, email McLovein for his college football picks and NFL fantasy football. If you guys have any questions, please comment on this video for that. Questions on fantasy football, who you should start, etc. You want to go into some people who have emailed you?
Yeah, so shout out to Matt Varnum and Luke Cianci. They've both been emailing me about different FanDuel lineups. Gave it one to Luke 2 weeks ago. That was a winner last week. We didn't do as well, but at least they're taking advantage of the help that's here. That's absolutely free. I haven't charged them any money. I'm here to help them out. They're actually they're engaging me, and I don't know whether you guys are just scared of me or you don't like me. Either way, I can help you, win games, win money. Who's the troll?
Money in the Bank.
No, not Money in the Bank. John Edward Patrick.
Oh, Tom Edward Patrick Brady or whatever.
Tom Edward Patrick Brady the third, Junior Edward, whatever your name is. I did work in the NFL, and I was trying to send you a link, but you never responded back. So if you need to see my credentials, they're all there. I'm 100% truthful with everything I say. 7 years in the NFL, 4 years in college football. So, yes, I have worked in the NFL, and yes, I have a lot of knowledge. So you guys can type away all you want, okay? I'm here to be your friend, and you guys can take shots. I hope you take more shots at me. Take more shots at me. Make me want to kick the shit out of the bookmakers, okay? So keep on. If you want to troll and that's all you have to do with your day, that's fine. I mean, if you have no life and you just want to sit and post comments, McLovein. And now I'm not a virgin dipper. I think he said I've been dipping for 12 years now, so not a virgin dipper. I dip all the time. I can pretty much do whatever I want, and you guys can sit there and critique. That's fine. That's why we have the show. But not a virgin dipper. Have worked in the NFL, have worked in college football. If you want to verify that, ask myself or Andy. We'll send you a link where you can read and weep.
Or you can just Google them.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Google me.
All right, here we go. NFL news and notes. Let's talk about the top headlines over the past week. Obviously, for those who watched the disgusting Philadelphia-Dallas game, knows that Tony Romo has a broken clavicle, and he is going to be out for 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. No surgery on it. He's just going to be rest and rehabilitation for 8 weeks. So Dallas trades a 2017 pick to the Bills for Matt Castle as a backup to Brandon Wheaton. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's not the worst thing they could have possibly done. He's a guy that has NFL experience. With New England, I know it was a little while ago. He did go 10-6. They didn't make the playoffs, but he struggled in Kansas City. He struggled in Minnesota. He's been a struggle ever since. But at the same time, he has won NFL games. Okay, so whether it's Brandon Wheaton or Matt Castle, either way, right now that Dallas just has to right the ship and do whatever they can. Now, them losing Dez and Romo, it's definitely going to hurt them, but they are 2-0 in the division. So they have kind of a comfort zone, a little buffer zone against the rest of the NFC East. So, yes, they're down 2 of their bigger guys, but they also are 2-0 in the NFC. Brandon Wheaton and I think those guys can at least carry the load until Romo gets back, until Dez Bryant gets back. They have a good enough defense to do so. Sean Lee is a stud. and their offensive line is probably the best in the NFL. So those two things will keep them at bay. Are they going to lose games? They should win, absolutely, because they don't have their quarterback. They don't have the best wide receiver. But I still think Dallas will be a playoff team. I still think they win that division without Romo and Dez for the next 8 to 10 weeks.
All right, the next news and notes here. Josh McCown got over his concussion issues for week 2. He will be the starter for week 3 over Johnny Manziel, even though Johnny Manziel upset whoever the hell they played. I forget who. Tennessee. So what are your thoughts on McCown over Manziel?
My thoughts, it's more of telling Johnny Manziel that, they don't want him to be the quarterback, okay? Like I said, whether it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Manziel is, he's fumbled 4 times. He's thrown interceptions. Unless he changes completely about the way he plays football, he's not an NFL quarterback. Yes, he can make plays, but he's gonna make more mistakes than he is plays. And he's flashy. I know Johnny Football. Everyone wants to blow him. Everything like that. But for what they have there, McCown is not going to make flashy plays, but he's not going to kill you. Okay, he's not going to run everywhere, fumble the ball, gets out of the pocket, get killed. Either way, I still think, Cleveland's played a little bit better than I thought they would have, but I think Johnny Football has plenty of time, down the road, next couple of years, to get his 16 starts every year. Right now, it's in the best interest of the Cleveland Browns to play Josh McCown, which is not a fan favorite, but a lot of times when they don't play the fan favorite, they still end up winning, and the fans are on that bandwagon as well. So, in my opinion, it's the right move. He's their quarterback, and Johnny's the backup.
Okay, Drew Brees has a bruised rotator cuff. He is probable or questionable for Sunday. What are your thoughts on Drew Brees? They're 0-2, and they potentially lose him. Is that bye-bye season? Yeah,
I think it's bye-bye season with him or without him. I think the Saints are done. Losing Jimmy Graham and Reggie Bush and the other Darren Sproles and all these guys have left. And the only staple has been, Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Drew Brees, 37. He's old. I think if you've watched him the first 2 weeks, he's a shell of himself. I think Drew Brees is washed up. I think this is it for him. He's had shoulder troubles in the past. If you remember, back when he left San Diego, he had to have a reconstructed shoulder before he went to New Orleans. I don't think a lot of the thing that New Orleans had going from it was their crowd with their atmosphere. Now believe it or not, they've lost their last 6 home games in the Superdome. You would never expect that from New Orleans. Okay, I think they're done. Their defense is atrocious. They really don't have a running game, and all they have is Drew Brees. But yeah, it's Drew Brees, but it's Drew Brees old and with a shoulder problem. So. They got a great wide receiver in Cooks. That's about it. With or without Breeze, I think this is a 4-12 season, a 3-13 season, maybe even 2-14. And that division that they play in is absolutely terrible. And I don't think they're going to do. I think they're going to finish in the basement in the NFC South. So with or without Breeze, they're done.
All right, Jason Witten is uncertain to play versus the Falcons. He has 2 sprained ankles and a sprained knee. And with Dallas already short quarterback in Dez Bryant, what does that mean? If Jason Witten does not play, do they win?
I think this is going to be a very good game. I think I'm going to pick Atlanta to win the game, only because Julio Jones, like I said in the past, he's going to catch. He's going to go for 100 and at least 1 touchdown. I think as soft as Atlanta is, they're one of the most softest teams I've ever seen in my life. They're very, very soft. They're still playing in the same atmosphere as they have at home. It's a indoor stadium. They could have all their full weapons are all healthy. Matt Ryan's healthy. The defense is a lot better than it has been in the past. I just don't think Dallas has the guns to go balls to the wall against them in a 4-quarter game. The only thing that Dallas has going for them is that they are playing at home, which is that big stadium and everything like that. I still think Atlanta is going to win the game. It's going to be close, and this is saying that when Dallas is down their tight end, their wide receiver, and their quarterback. So I think Atlanta will win this game, which at the end is going to be a huge tiebreaker when it comes down to Dallas and Atlanta as far as who gets a better bid. But I just think it's shit luck for Dallas right now, and I think Atlanta's playing Dallas at the best possible time they could play all season. So I'm going to take Atlanta. Having those guys down, the one thing with injuries in the NFL is you don't want to compound an injury. So what I'm saying is you don't want to rush these guys back, because when you rush them back, then they get hurt again, then they're screwed. As much as it sucks to have them on the bench, they're on the bench for a reason, because they have to heal their injury in order to get back to where they were. Now with Dallas, what they're doing is they're putting Tony Romo on the physically unable to perform list, but with a return. So he's going to be coming back late November. What they're going to do is they're just going to ride this ship from now until the end of November and go with what they got. And then when everyone comes back, they're going to go, they're going to go all out to try to finish it. And that's the only play they can do. And that's a smart thing to do rather than bring these guys back way too soon. Then they're going to get hurt again, and they're screwed both ways.
Cam Chancellor comes back. He ended his holdout, not because he gave in, but because I think the Seahawks are 0-2. And so, what are your thoughts on Cam Chancellor ending his holdout to come back to try to help the team?
Well, I think that's, if he really wanted to help the team, he'd be starting week 1. So I don't buy that he's helping the team. There's definitely something else going on. They either came to a deal or... See, the guy, it's unfortunate, but the NFL is a business. But believe it or not, these guys are making millions of dollars. Believe it or not, he thinks he gets paid more than what they want to pay him. Okay, and he's holding out because he thinks he deserves more money. So regardless if he's there or he's not, they still have not, they're 0-2 if he's there or he's not, okay? Yes, he's a huge part of that defense. Yes, they've had a tough schedule so far at St. Louis and at Green Bay. That's a tough schedule. 0-2. I think when he comes back, he's going to add that extra dimension to that defense, which they desperately need right now. I don't buy he's coming back because he's a team player. If he was a team player, he would have came back week 1. So, Seattle fans, it's kind of great to have him back, but you're also, 2 games in the hole. I think he'll still make a comeback. I think Seattle will still make the playoffs as a wild card team. But as far as Cam Chancellor saying that he's coming back because he's a team player is bullshit. He's coming back because they either reached an agreement or they worked something out which was the best in his favor. No matter what he says, it's the best in the player's favor. I guarantee you at 110% across the board.
Bucs tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins out 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury. How does that deplete Tampa Bay's anemic offense?
Well, they played a lot better against the Saints, and I think that game they beat it at the Saints as a more reflection on how the Saints are going to be this year. He's a big weapon for Winslow. Winston. For him not to be there, yeah, it's another big tight end that he can't throw to. As far as it affecting them in the long run, they're not going to be in the playoffs anyway. And I still see them as like a 6-10. They're going to be definitely improved from last year. But every time coming into, you have the number 1 pick overall, and you had a dog shit season last year, and then you throw a rookie in there for the next season. It's going to be there are growing pains in the NFL, and I think right now Tampa is going to experience those growing pains for this next year. Allow Winston to use this as a year where he can learn how to play in the NFL, because he can't prepare for it. The only thing that you can do is play, and that's how you're going to learn. So I think with or without the tight end, it's going to be a year where they're going to try to get these young guys going on the same page, come back the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully it all pans out. As far as the tight end goes, yeah, it's a big loss. It's another target that he's not going to have, but we'll go from there.
All right, Jay Cutler is out at least 2 weeks with a strained hamstring. Jimmy Clausen most likely is going to get the start for the Bears.
Well, I think Chicago has really shown that they don't have any. Their defense is terrible. They're really, really bad. Cutler, it didn't look like his. That guy's head is. We don't know where it is, and he's got all the talent in the world. And one of the worst things you can do in your life is waste talent. And he's got a lot of talent. He's got a cannon for an arm. It just seems to me he doesn't want to be there, and who knows how strong this this injury is. Even with Clausen, I don't think much is going to change. They're still going to get beat, they're going to get smoked by Seattle on Sunday. I think they're done, but with or without Cutler, I don't think it makes a difference. I think Jimmy Clausen will actually play better. He doesn't have the upside, but he's not going to throw 4 picks either. So either way, it sucks for Jay Cutler, but more importantly, it sucks for those Bears fans in Chicago. I'm sorry.
Falcons running back Tevin Coleman, fractured rib. No idea on his return. Is that going to cripple Atlanta?
No, because they got Freeman. They got Devontae Freeman, who's a backup, who's a stud. Okay, any fantasy players out there, play Freeman, the running back from Atlanta. He's going to pick up right where he left off. I think this guy's going to be better. And once he gets his time now, full load of the carries, he's going to take off and be the starter for the rest of the year.
Jacksonville Jaguars running back Denard Robinson is going to miss several weeks with a left knee injury.
Well, Denard Robinson is he can do everything on the offensive side of the ball. He can throw the ball, he can catch the ball, he can run the ball. I think that's going to be make a huge impact on Jacksonville, especially with the young quarterback and Blake Bortles. Their defense is a lot better than what it's been in the past. Denard Robinson was one of those guys. He was like a Troy Brown or like a Darren Sproles. You can line him up everywhere. He can throw if he had to. They're going to miss him. And then, hopefully he's not out too long so they can get him back and get him healthy.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger was quoted as saying that they plan for the foreseeable future to keep going for 2 all the time to try to get an advantage over the not having to go for 1. Does he think that's a smart move or what? It seemed to work really well against the 49ers.
It did, and the 49ers are, not that good of a football team. And I don't disagree with it. We've already seen more field goals. We've already seen more extra points missed in the first 2 weeks than all of last season. Okay, so the competition committee has really made it a competition now because nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And I tell you what, teams that are successful 60% of the time on goal to go or second and goal from the 2, you might as well. Why not? I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I really don't. I'm one of those guys. I'm a gambler. I do the same thing. Now I think Tomlin is in a position where he has the ownership base. He has the fans. So even if he does go for it, and they don't get it, I think unless it kills him, unless it costs him the game, I think he's fine. Now you look at a lot of other coaches in the NFL, they couldn't do it because they can't get away with it. If they were to do it, they'd have to get 100% of 100%, which is not going to happen. But he's figuring that if he can get it 60 to 75% of the times he doesn't get it, he makes up for it with the 2-point conversion. I think the only way it works out is if you do it, consistently. and consistently go for 2, which I'd love to see. It would change the game. You know, it'd be 8-16 and 8-16-24 rather than 21, which comes, you know, if they can do it, it comes big, and they're going to score a lot of points. So that's another reason why they're able to do it, is because regardless whether they kick the extra point or not, they're still going to score, you know, 30, 40, 50 points a game. So with a smart quarterback with that, and with Le'Veon Bell coming back next week, I think Pittsburgh can just pretty much about do whatever they want. And I think that, hey, why not go for 2? You know, fuck it. Go for 2. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, and the last newsworthy headline this week: the Vikings cut ties with mascot Ragnar because he wants $20,000 a game.
Yeah.
Which would, over the next 10 years, which would equate to a 10-year, $2 million contract. What do you think of that?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's, you know, these guys, they jump in the suit, and, you know, you don't have, you can have the personality of my left foot and still get paid, you know. All they do is jump around. They're in a suit, you know, $20,000 a game. I mean, that's just, that's ridiculous. No one should be paying their mascot $20,000 a game. That's just insanity. I hope it's not happening around the NFL.
No.
Because if it were, then why do we need a mascot? I can see in the other sports, why do we need a mascot in football? Does he get... All the people that I know that work in the NFL, adults, fucking... They don't know if half the teams have a mascot or not. And if they do, it's probably fucking stupid. So, that being said, why should we pay this guy $20,000 a game for, what is he, Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I thought that if they have a mascot, it'd be a fucking...
It's a Viking. It is a Viking. He, since the mid-1970s when he first started.
Well, he's not in a suit.
No,
he's the guy.
He's the guy on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, they created a different mascot, which is now the Norse Viking or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is different from Ragnar.
Yeah.
So they still have that one they created a few years ago, but Ragnar, I think it was his first home game missed or something along those lines when they won last week. So
I wouldn't invite him back.
No.
Bottom line is $20,000 is way too much money for a mascot. I don't care whether you're playing Little League baseball, you know, women's soccer, or the NFL football. There's a lot other things we could do with $20,000 rather than give it to a fucking idiot jumping around, running up and down or whatever. So I think it's a terrible idea. If Minnesota does it, then they're...
No, Minnesota cut ties with him.
Okay, good. Yeah, he's on his own now, and now he's not getting paid anything. So... You know?
That's the way the zebra crumbles.
Exactly.
All right, so now we have transactions. Now, we stopped last week for week 2 on Wednesday because Thursday, tomorrow, last week was a game.
Yeah.
So there are transactions from Thursday on over last week and then into this coming week. So let's go over everything from last week into this week. On the 17th, Thursday, last week, Bears signed quarterback David Fales to the practice squad. Lions released wide receiver Salim Hakeem from the practice squad. They signed offensive tackle Jordan Mills to the practice squad.
Practice squad guys, they're never going to play.
Houston claimed offensive tackle O'Day Abushi off waivers from the Jets. Signed wide receiver Chandler Worthy from the practice squad. Signed offensive tackle Joseph Treadwell to the practice squad.
Nothing.
Patriots acquired wide receiver Keyshawn Martin from Houston for an undisclosed draft pick. Released defensive lineman Kyrie Thornton, signed wide receiver Chris Harper to the practice squad.
Nothing.
All right, Friday the 18th. Colts placed cornerback John Smith on injured reserve designated for return. Released guard Robert Myers from the practice squad. Signed cornerback Eric Patterson from the practice squad. And guard David Arkin and cornerback Brandon Dixon to the practice squad. Patriots released wide receiver Nathan Palmer from the practice squad. Re-signed defensive lineman Jimmy Staten to the practice squad.
No.
Let's go to Saturday the 19th. The Cardinals released tight end Joseph Foria. Signed running back Kerwin Williams from the practice squad.
He's not a bad running. I mean, whenever someone gets signed to the practice squad, the only time it matters is when someone gets signed from the practice squad to the 53-man. Then now we're talking. But all they're doing is just shifting around that practice squad. The practice squad is there. just in case. And even if they are in the practice squad and they get moved up to the 53, the chances of them even seeing the field or being active are not good. So, nothing.
Bears waived defensive back DeMontre Hurst, signed defensive lineman Brandon Dunn from the practice squad. Jacksonville released wide receiver Brian Walters, signed cornerback Peyton Thompson from the practice squad. Oakland signed safety Tevin McDonald.
That's it?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Okay. San Diego waived wide receiver Terrell Williams, signed safety Adrian Phillips from the practice squad. And Washington terminated the contract of defensive end Frank Kurse, signed linebacker Terrence Plummer from the practice squad.
Whenever you terminate the contract of somebody, I mean, that means that they must have done something, or they just
Ray
suck.
McDonald in the hotel room.
Yeah, Ray McDonald in the hotel room. Yeah, no, nothing there.
Sunday, September 20th. Okay, Carolina released wide receiver Demiri Bird from the practice squad, signed offensive tackle Pierce Burton to the practice squad. Patriots waived wide receiver Jonathan Krause, terminated defensive back Dax Swanson and defensive tackle Jimmy Staten from the practice squad, signed guard Chris Barber and defensive tackle Kyrie Thornton to the practice squad.
Okay, Kyrie Thornton's a decent player.
All right. Eagles terminated defensive end Brian Mullick from the practice squad. Tennessee terminated wide receiver Dion Long from the practice squad. Dion Long is long down there.
Dion Long is long on the street looking for a job right now.
Monday, September 21st. So now we're going into week 3.
Okay.
Baltimore acquired cornerback Will Davis from Miami for a 2016 7th-round draft pick.
That's a steal. That's a hell of a deal.
So Baltimore had a great...
Baltimore, for a 7th-round pick for him, yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Bears signed running back / fullback Paul Leisky to the practice squad, terminated the practice squad contract of running back Bronson Hill.
Nothing.
Green Bay signed linebacker Joe Thomas, placed defensive tackle Josh Boyd on injured reserve.
Linebacker Joe Thomas, I don't know much about him, nothing.
All right, Minnesota activated cornerback Jabari Price from the suspended list. Okay, and Washington signed defensive end Frank Kurse, waived cornerback David Emerson.
No.
All right, now Tuesday was a busy day in the NFL yesterday. You ready? Arizona released running back Kerwin Williams, signed running back Mike Gisley to the practice squad, released to tight end Brandon Bostic, and guard Anthony Steen from the practice squad. And Brandon Bostic, isn't that the guy from Green Bay who fucked the game up?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it is. Remember Green Bay in the NFC Championship game? It was an onside kick, and they brought Brandon Bostic in, the tight end, to try to just block. Yeah. He ended up going up for the ball. He missed the ball. Seattle recovered and ended up winning the game in overtime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Brandon Bostic, and people wanted to kill him. All right. You don't remember that, huh?
No. I remember the play. I don't remember the guy.
Yeah, that's Brandon Bostic, yeah. Bills traded quarterback Matt Castle and a 7th-round 2017 draft pick to Dallas for a 2017 5th-round draft pick.
Good deal, yeah. It affects both teams, and it's a good deal for both teams.
Bears signed quarterback David Fales from the practice squad, waived cornerback Bryce Callahan.
Nothing.
Cleveland signed linebacker Cam Johnson to the practice squad, released defensive lineman Kelsey Quarles from the practice squad.
Nothing.
Dallas placed quarterback Tony Romo injured reserve on, obviously he's returning, placed defensive tackle Terrell McLean on injured reserve, signed running back Gus Johnson to the practice squad.
Nothing.
Colts signed cornerback Josh Thomas, waived cornerback Eric Patterson, signed tight end Sean McGrath to the practice squad, released cornerback Brandon Dixon from the practice squad, reached an injury settlement with running back Vic Ballard.
Nothing.
Jaguars placed wide receiver Rashad Green on injured reserve with the ability to return, re-signed wide receiver Brian Walters, signed offensive tackle Tyrus Thompson and linebacker Jordan Tripp to the practice squad, released offensive tackle Patrick Miller. Giants released wide receiver Preston Parker, signed defensive tackle Kendrick Ellis.
Kendrick Ellis, pretty good.
Preston Parker's gone, though.
No, he's on the street.
Jets signed wide receiver Titus Davis to the practice squad, released defensive end Jordan Williams from the practice squad.
No.
The Raiders claimed cornerback David Emerson off waivers from Washington, waived safety Tevin McDonald, signed running back Rajon Neal to the practice squad, released running back George Atkinson III from the practice squad.
Nothing.
Seahawks released linebacker Eric Pinkins from the practice squad, signed cornerback George Farmer to the practice squad. Tennessee signed center guard Dylan Farrell to the practice squad, waived tight end Tevin Westbrook from the practice squad. Washington placed linebacker Martell Spate on injured reserve. And then today, as of now, 6:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Bills signed safety Jonathan Meeks from the practice squad, signed quarterback Dustin Vaughn to the practice squad.
Nothing.
And Houston signed running back Darrell Richardson to the practice squad.
No.
All right, so that's a whole week of nothing.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of hee-haw, hee-haw. Let's go into Patrick's hee-haw picks from last week.
Let's do it.
All right, so Patrick or McLovein or P-Bone or fucking whatever you want to be called, here's the drill, okay? All right, we both had Kansas City last week, and they were winning, and then all shit hit the fan. You had Kansas City as, they were favored by 3. Mm-hmm. You picked Kansas City to win, to cover. Mm-hmm. Denver won. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Well, I mean, I'm still upset about this game. Just for the fact that Kansas City has the ball with 27 seconds to go, okay? All they have to do is take it in overtime. If you're going to try to advance the ball past the fucking ball, why bother running it? Now, when you run it, you open up a lot of different, things can happen. Like it did. Denver picks it up, takes the end zone, they win by 7. Now, Kansas City had Denver on the ropes. They're up 14-0. They just returned a pick to the house, and they allowed Peyton Manning to get comfortable. They allowed the crowd to get out of it. Peyton Manning played very well. He did what he normally does, is he dinks and dunks, and then he finds his big receivers over the middle. Very, very intelligent quarterback. Kansas City, had a lead, let him tie it. Had another lead, let him tie it, and then give him the ball. It's like handing them the game. They're saying, you know what? We put a week into this preparation, okay? We're at home. It's a divisional opponent, and we have so much riding on this game. And here's the game. We're just going to give it to you. And Denver took it. They're not fucking stupid. And, and the rest is history. So Kansas City really poor coaching job by Andy Reid, and you don't usually see that.
Well, he's usually ordering food off the play call list.
Exactly.
Like it's a fucking buffet.
If you're at home and you're on your own 25-yard line and there's 20 seconds left in the game, take a fucking knee, take it to overtime and see what that happens there. Don't try to run it. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you're just stupid.
That's what happens. All right, Houston, Carolina. You picked Houston to cover. They were favored by 3. Carolina ended up winning by 7. You're 0-2 at this point.
Yes. Houston, they're terrible. I mean, I don't know what else to say. They're fucking terrible. Regardless of the quarterback, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're not good. Bottom line, and like I said last week, I put all my eggs in their basket because I thought Bill O'Brien they were gonna come in and kick ass. Now, they didn't do that. They laid down, and I think that has a lot to say with them listening to their coach. So they're already 0-2 in the division. I mean, 0-2 in the conference, and I don't see it getting much better. So fuck Houston.
All right, New Orleans and Tampa. Now, New Orleans was favored by 10 in the game. Let's just listen to this audio clip of you from last week.
They're going to be at home, opener, all the Who Dat Nation, whatever the fuck that means. But, I think they're going to wipe the floor with Tampa Bay. This is going to be a blowout. Tampa has probably one of the worst offensive lines I've seen. They have a rookie quarterback. It's going to be a tough atmosphere. New Orleans is going to, mop the floor with them. They're going to kick the shit out of them. They're going to piss all over them.
So that's what you had about that. And New Orleans lost by 7. You care to elaborate on that there?
Sure, yeah. I was wrong. I admit when I'm wrong. Now, you got to give credit to Tampa, who everybody and their mother thought, New Orleans was going to win. They were going to win big. To come into a place like that and beat them outright, there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for what I said. There's no excuse for what happened that day. All we can do is just learn from our mistakes and go from there. So I was wrong. I admit I'm wrong. And like I said, I think New Orleans, from laying down like that, I think they're done.
So at this point, you're 0-3. Then you had San Francisco was the underdog in this game. You had them covering. You had Pittsburgh winning the game, but you had San Francisco covering by 5. And let's go back to the audio tape from last week.
don't think they're going to win, but I think they'll cover the 5.5 spread.
Okay, next up we have. So Pittsburgh ends up winning by 25.
Yeah, they creamed them. You know, they crushed them. They kicked the shit out of them. You know, I thought they'd play better. Obviously, they didn't. I thought that they'd do a lot better on defense. They gave up, 49 points?
The score was, hold on a minute here. No, it was, it might have been 48.
48, 49, whatever.
48 to whatever the hell it
They
was.
were never in that game. And they're on the road. It's tough. It's a tough atmosphere. They just never were in that game. They were beat before the game even started. So, you know, I was wrong with San Francisco. And, you know, I'm going to be wrong. And I'll admit that I'm wrong. But I still need to do a better job. And I will do a better job. And I apologize for that pick, the last pick too. And so, all we can do is learn.
All right, so right now you're 0-4, and it doesn't get any better with the next pick.
Okay.
Minnesota was favored by 3. You had, who'd they play?
Detroit.
You had Detroit winning, correct, or
Yep.
covering? Minnesota ended up winning by 10. Let's go into that thought process.
So, basing off week 1, Detroit played very well for 3/4 of the game at San Diego. You know, I thought that they, with their high-powered offense, they could just come right into Minnesota and you know, continue where they left off. Once again, Minnesota played a lot better than I thought they were going to play. And, you know, once again, I'll learn from my mistakes and hopefully do better.
So 0-5 now against the spread. New England was a pick-em. You picked New England. You won that. 1-5 there. Arizona was favored by 1.5. They ended up winning by 25. So you're right there. Now we're at 2-5. And then Tennessee, Cleveland. Let's go back to the tape.
We're gonna rock them, sack them, and you know, even with Manziel, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Tennessee's on the rise with Mariota. My good friend Jason Michael is the offensive coordinator there, so he's doing great things there. Tennessee is going to win this game. If it's just a pick 'em out, I mean, I would figure that Tennessee would be favored, but yeah, Tennessee all the way. All right, next up.
Tennessee all the way, he says. Well, Tennessee all the way. Tennessee all the way to the loss column. Cleveland wins by 14.
So I overrated Tennessee and I underestimated Cleveland. Bottom line, you know, I didn't expect that much from Cleveland, but they probably watched my video and they probably said, you know what, fuck him, we're gonna go out and play. So another bad loss, another one I take full responsibility for, and another one that I'll learn for.
So 2-6 at this point. You had Cincinnati by 3. The cover of the 3, they won by 6, so you got that one right. You're 3-6 at this point here. Then you had St. Louis favored by 3.5. Washington wins by 14.
Yeah, Washington's defense is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. In St. Louis. Now, what I found out after the game from one of the guys that works for me, one of my scouts, he said that, and I wish he had brought this to my information prior, St. Louis is 2-15 in the last 17 games after they play Seattle. So once they play Seattle, the next 17 games are 2-15, which I didn't know. You know, that would have.
That's unbelievable. What do you think that has to do with the fact that they're just mentally and physically exhausted from that game?
I think it has to be. So, yeah, it was another tough loss. But with all these tough losses, it's just going to make the winning that much better. And I hope we put as much time into my winning picks as we do into my losing picks, because I guess that's the theme of the show, is to you know. And that's fine. I can handle it. I'm a man. You guys can rag me. Andy can, you know, play the videos or whatever. I just, you know, just promise me that when I do well, you guys play the same fucking video and play the same sound bite, you know. So.
All right, Atlanta 2.5-point favorites. They ended up winning by 4, so you got that right. Miami was favored by 6, and they lost by 3 to Jacksonville. You lost that one.
I lost that one. That was a close game.
I don't think anybody had Jacksonville, and if you did, you were a liar. Jacksonville,
Miami had them on the ropes. They were tied 20-20. what are you going to do? Jacksonville played a lot better than I thought they were going to be. And Miami had a chance. They had a couple chances, and they just couldn't get it done. And that just shows you that, Tannehill is not ready for the spotlight yet. And, Jacksonville playing with the house cards, they played extremely well. But, yeah, it was a close game. Could have gone either way. But, yes, I was wrong again on that one.
Philadelphia, Dallas. Philadelphia was favored by 5 at home. They lost by 10.
Yeah, this was just an absolute shit show. I tried to watch this game and I couldn't watch it. It was so bad. It was just a bad football. Philadelphia, I don't know what the fuck's going on. They're in a lot of trouble. Chip Kelly, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Anytime DeMarco Murray, a guy who led the league in rushing yards last year, 2 carries, or 11 carries for 2 yards. 11 carries for 2 yards. The guy who won the NFL run. I don't give a fuck if I'm blocking or Andy's blocking, okay? He's going to get more than 2 yards on 11 carries. So that's saying they're either tipping their plays or it's just bad football, Bradford has no time in the pocket. They're down his neck. And at the home game, you thought Philly, their fans are just, they're probably on suicide watch because their team is atrocious. And they have probably arguably the most talent in that division. That whole division is just so shitty. That's all it is. You take a shit in the toilet and you say, okay, that's the NFC East, okay? Because the Giants are terrible. They're 0-2, okay? Washington is 1-1. They're in second place, okay? Dallas is 2-0. They're limping to 2-0. This is just like, it's like the JV versus the varsity. It's like, playing the school for the deaf, It's bad football, but you know what? Someone has to win. So, I can't explain that. It's once again, it's mind-boggling how bad a football team can play on a Sunday, especially at home, especially when you're Philadelphia Eagles, especially when you're coached by the Mr. $7.5 million a year, Chip Kelly, and then just fucking lay an egg like that, especially to Dallas, a division rival. You think they'd have some balls to try to keep their dick up for the entire game, but it wasn't there.
Green Bay was favored by 3.5 over Seattle. They won by 10. You're correct on that. Jets were the underdog by 7. You picked the Jets to cover. They end up winning by 13. Hell of a pick.
Hell of a pick. Yeah, there we go. The Jets are going to be a lot better than I knew they were going to. I think I still had Indy win the game, but the Jets are a tough team right now, and it's a team that. Philadelphia is playing this week, and Philadelphia is only going to get even worse after they play the Jets. So I think the Jets are going to be a lot better. I think the NFC, as bad as the NFC East is, the AFC East is the best. I don't think there's even a close second as far as being the best conference in the NFL with New England, who's 2-0, Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets. So I think those 4 teams in one division is the best division in football. And the good thing about it is that I think at least one of those teams, maybe 2 of those teams will come out, as wild cards, along with the Patriots. The Patriots will win the division, But it's going to be a fun battle between Miami, the Jets, and Buffalo because all those 3 teams are kind of right on the same level. And they're going to play each other twice, so we'll see what happens. But I think the whole division. I think the worst team maybe be 7-9, 8-8. I think that's how good that division is.
The last game, Baltimore was favored by 6 over Oakland. Oakland wins by 4, so that was a loss.
Yeah, Baltimore was. They stayed out. They played Denver the week before. They stayed out west for another week. Baltimore is not the same Baltimore, and a lot of times when I make these picks early on in the season, I'm assuming that they're going to play like they have when they were in the AFC Championship game, and they're just not there. A young Oakland offense with Derek Carr and Cooper, and they got all these guys. They were in the black hole, and anytime early in a game, anytime, no matter what level you're playing out, when the underdog shows that, like, oh, this is all they got. Like, okay, well, we're underdogs, but we're better than this fucking team. Like, the more you let a underdog hang around, the more that they're gonna just play with the house's money and they're gonna win. And the more that the favorite team's gonna get tight. You know, tight, very tight, and continue to be tighter.
So 9-7 last week against the spread. This week finished 6-10 for a record of 15-17.
15-17, okay.
Overall, okay.
It's not too shabby.
Now we're just going to go to the straight pick'ems. I have some information on everybody there. Let's just go into you and me real quick. With Steve Goldman, we're in our own division here. Patrick, Kansas City. You had Kansas City, you lost that. You had Houston, you lost that. New Orleans, you lost that. Pittsburgh, you won. Detroit, you lost. New England, you won. Arizona, you won. Tennessee, you lost. Cincinnati, you won. St. Louis, you lost. Atlanta, you won. Miami, you lost. Philadelphia, you lost. Green Bay, you won. Indy, you lost. Baltimore, you lost. For a record of 6-10. To go along with your week 1 record of 10-6. So you're 16-16 at this point, and you're atop the league of you, me, and Steve Goldman. I had Kansas City, I lost. I had Carolina, I won. I had New Orleans, I lost. I had Pittsburgh, I won. I had Detroit, I lost. I had New England, I won. I had Arizona, I won. I had Tennessee, I lost. I had San Diego, I lost. I had St. Louis, I lost. I had Atlanta, I won. Miami and Philadelphia and Seattle and Indy and Baltimore, I lost all those games to finish, I believe I was 5-11 for a record of 15-17. And Steve Goldman, these were his picks, or I don't have them on me right now, but Steve Goldman also finished 5-11, so he is also 15-17. So through 2 weeks, Steve Goldman, remember you can win, I think it's $300 for yourself if you beat McLovein. But week number 1, or through 2 weeks, you have McLovein at 16-16, and then you have me and Steve Goldman a game behind at 15-17. Now, for the other league, we have 3 teams, but technically we have 2. Emeret Bowl, E-M-M-E-R-T Bowl, okay, went 8-4. That's impossible. Oh, that's his name. Emeret Bowl 814. He went 4-11, okay. I didn't do his spread picks, but I did do his regular actual win pick'em picks. He went 4-11, but he missed Thursday's game, so he's disqualified. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
The other 2 teams in their own division, we have Yes to Anything That Is Cool and Awesome went 8-8, and Money in the Bank, who you called out last week, went 7-9. He ended up beating you. Talk about him beating you.
Well, I called you out. You accepted the challenge. You beat me. I like it. I like you not making any comments. You know, let's just go head-to-head as men. Congratulations on being under 500. You still beat me, which is a task in itself. So keep on coming. Let's do this. You know, I'll call everybody out. Everybody come and try to compete. That's all I want to do is compete and show you guys that I really know what I'm talking about, what I'm doing, and you know it's got off to a rough start. You know, what am I going to say? It's only going to get better from here, and it's not going to get any worse. So Money in the Bank, you know, good job. You beat me, and that's only 1 week now, bro. So we'll see how far that you can carry this. But I guarantee, you know, I'll beat you by 10, 25 games by the end of the year. All
right, Money in the Bank. Email me at andyvhb@aol.com. That is andyvhb@aol.com. Since you accepted McLovin's challenge and beat him, you've just won yourself a $25 gift card to your favorite restaurant. So please email me your address, email me what restaurant you wanted at, and we will send that out to you immediately.
Good for you.
Yeah, good for you, says McLovein.
Make sure you take your mom and your sister.
All right, let's go into week 3. Here's what we got. You got week 3. Here we are. Okay. So week 3, Thursday night game tomorrow night. Washington is battling the Giants at home. Giants are at home, taking on Washington. The Giants are favored by 3.5. You picked the Giants to cover the 3.5.
Yeah, I think that Thursday night game in New York. This is I don't give a shit what people say. This is a must-win for the Giants. They have to fucking win. If they go 0-3, forget about it. I mean, they're not the type of team to get off the mat and run off 9 in a row. I think the Giants win. I think they win by 10. They definitely cover. I think it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a fun game to watch, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be an NFC East battle that, like I said, one team has to win, unfortunately. They're both really, really bad football teams, but I think the Giants being at home, maybe Odell Beckham could come out of the witness protection program. He hasn't done shit to all you Giants fans ever.
Well, last week he had 146 yards receiving on 7 catches.
Okay.
So
they didn't win. So Odell Beckham, let's see if you can be the man and help your team win. And Eli, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, let's see if he can, at least win one game this year. So I'm going to take the Giants minus the 3.5 over Washington.
All right, St. Louis is home, taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the favored by 1. Who do you have?
Pittsburgh minus 1. This spread actually shocked me, and it almost shocked me to the point where I took St. Louis just because of the 1 point that scares me. They know something that I don't know. But I think 4-quarter game, I think with Ben Roethlisberger, they're getting Le'Veon Bell back. They have Antonio Brown. I think if Vegas is right, it's going to be a close game. I would never envision it being a close game, but I still think Pittsburgh wins, and they're going to give up the point to win.
All right. Minnesota's at home against San Diego, and Minnesota's favored by 2.5, but you picked the Chargers to cover the 2.5.
I'm taking the Chargers plus the 2.5.
Yeah.
So with the points.
They're the underdog by 2.5.
Yes.
Correct.
I'm taking San Diego plus the 2.5. I really like the Chargers. I really like, Phillip Rivers. I think they're a better football team from top to bottom than Minnesota is. Minnesota plays well at home, as we saw last week. I just think the San Diego Chargers are too hungry. I think that they're better coached. I think they have a better quarterback. I think they got, better overall receivers. I think the Chargers are going to, man up and play this football game that we call football.
Football!
Only men only. We don't put any broads on there. I think San Diego's going to fucking sack up, and they're going to go out and they're going to cover the 2.5 against Minnesota.
All right, Houston's at home against Tampa Bay. Houston is favored by 6.5 in this game, but you're picking Tampa to cover.
Well, I mean, Houston has really, really fucked me the last 2 weeks. And you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to say Houston cannot lose this game, right? But I'm taking the Bucks plus a 6.5 because fuck Houston, okay? The Bucks coming off whether if they were playing in the parking lot of a Burger King or the Superdome, they still won that game. They have a lot of, to a young team, a win like that is huge. They got a lot of momentum going. I think Houston doesn't know where the fuck they are. Their head coach is clueless, and they don't know what they're doing. I don't think Arian Foster is going to be back. If he is, he'll be, questionable. So I'm taking the Bucks plus the points. Let's just roll the dice.
All right, Jets are at home against Philly. Jets are favored by 2.5. You're taking the Jets.
Jets minus 2.5, and I'm surprised it's that low. I think unless Philadelphia does something dynamic over this next week and finds something that in the Jets where I haven't seen, and their defense is legit. They have 2 legit corners. They have their front 7 is very good. They got a guy. Their best defensive lineman is actually suspended for 4 games for steroids, and then he's also got a charge coming out after that. This guy named Wilkinson, who he has a loaded gun going 115 miles an hour with his 12-year-old daughter in the back seat. So he's got a lot of problems. But if Alden Smith can play every Sunday after being arrested 4 times, anyone can do it. But the Jets, I think, will win this game. They'll cover. So I'm taking the Jets minus the 2.5. I don't think Philly. If Philly plays like anything the last 2 weeks, they have no shot in hell.
Carolina's at home against New Orleans. Carolina's favored by 3. You're picking Carolina.
I'm all over Carolina. They're 2-0. I don't think New Orleans, with or without Breeze, I think Carolina's going to take it to them. I'm surprised that it's such a low. Vegas has this as an even matchup because you always get 3 points as the home team. So I'm taking Carolina plus a 3.
Minus a 3.
I'm sorry, Carolina minus the 3 over New Orleans.
Yep. All right, Patriots are home against Jacksonville. Patriots are favored by 13.5. You're picking the Pats.
I'm taking the Pats just because it's 13.5, and I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns. Now, this scares me because this is the same thing as the Pats game 1. They're up 14-0. Everyone's packing their bags. The Steelers go down and score a meaningless touchdown. I could see something like that. Jacksonville's a young team. They're going to play 4 quarters. I think the Patriots will have them beat by 14 points at the end of the third quarter. Now, who knows what's going to happen in the fourth quarter, but I'm still going to make the safe bet and take the Pats minus 14.
Minus 13.5.
Minus 13.5.
All right, now you got Baltimore at home against Cincinnati. Baltimore's favored by 2.5, but you're taking Cincinnati on the road.
Yeah, Cincinnati's a lot better team. They got, Dalton and A.J. Green. They got a good running back. They got 2 good running backs. I think that they're a more complete team than Baltimore. I think Baltimore's in shambles right now. Their defense is nowhere near what it has been. And actually, for the first time in 12 years, believe it or not, last week was the first time Suggs, Ray Lewis, and Ed Reed did not play. One of those 3 guys did not play in one game. That was last week was the first time in the last 12 years. So their defense is not as good as it once was, and I still think they're trying to hold it. I don't think Flacco, he's a good quarterback, but he's not one of those guys that can take over the game on his own. So I'm taking Cincinnati because they have a better quarterback, they have a better wide receiver, and I think they have a better running game, and I'm just going to take Cincinnati plus the 2.5.
Cleveland's at home against Oakland, and Cleveland is favored by 3.5 in this game, but you're picking Oakland.
I'm taking Oakland. I think that they're hot. Cooper is everything that they thought he was going to be. He's fast, he's quick, he can jump, he's a hell of an athlete. I think Oakland's just going to continue to ride, off the win against Baltimore at home. I think they'll win the game outright and they'll cover the point. So Oakland plus 3.5.
Tennessee's at home against the Colts. The Colts are favored by 3. You're picking the Colts.
I'm taking the Colts. As much as I hate the Colts, I hate him. I hate Grigson, all of his shenanigans. Wow. We can't beat the Patriots. Wow. We think they're using deflated balls. Wow. Hello, NFL. This is Ryan Grigson from the Colts. Wow. We can't beat the Patriots. Wow. We gave up 679 yards on the ground the last 3 games we played the Pats. Wow. What can we do to make, fuck Indianapolis. Fuck their whole team, okay? Fuck Grigson. Fuck Irsay. Whatever. You guys are in a shambles, too. You're 0-2. You're lucky playing in a fucking bad division, okay? There's no way in hell that Andrew Luck and those guys can go 0-3. And Andrew Luck in his first 3 years is 16-2 against his divisional opponents. So I think they win that game. I think they cover the spread, but it's their time. They have to now. I mean, they haven't covered. They're 0-2 as far as covering the spread. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this is a trend, but I think Indianapolis will win and they'll cover the point spread.
Dallas is home against Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 2, and you got Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta by 2. I think I talked about this a little before. I think Atlanta has a full complement. They got, Roddy White. They got Julio Jones. They got the running back. They got Matt Ryan. They got a decent line. They have a better defense. They're playing on the same track that they're normally playing in an indoor stadium. Dallas is just down with those injuries. The quarterback, the wide receiver, the tight end. I think Atlanta, wins this game. But I think they win by, 3 to 6 points, maybe 10. But in the end, I think those injuries are going to come back to hurt Dallas, and I think Atlanta has a good enough defense where they're going to protect that lead and cover the spread.
Arizona's at home against the 49ers. Arizona is favored by 6, and you're taking the Cardinals.
I'm taking the Cardinals minus the 6. I've been to that stadium many times. I've played many games in there. That's a tough place to play. Divisional rival with the 49ers with Arizona is a completely different team. And the way Fitzgerald played last week, they got the 3 running backs. They have 3 wideouts that are legit. At home, their defense is a lot better than what it has been in the past. I think Arizona wins that game, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Arizona, wins by 7 points. So I'm taking Arizona minus the 6.
Miami's at home against Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 2.5, or Miami's favored by 2.5. but you're picking Buffalo.
I'm taking Buffalo on the road. McCoy, who's been shaky, just because his hamstring is going to come back. I really like the way Buffalo plays, and I think it's more of like a, free balls, just like wearing no, boxers or briefs. That's the type of way that, Rex Ryan wants to play. Miami, I'm not sold on Tannehill yet. I'm not sold on that defense. I'm not sold. I think Buffalo is a better football team. I think Buffalo will go down there and make a lot of Dolphins fans upset because I think Buffalo is going to cover the 2.5. I'm taking Buffalo plus the 2.5, but I think Buffalo is going to win outright.
All right, Seattle's at home against the Bears. Seattle is favored by 14.5, but you're taking the Bears to cover.
I'm taking the Bears plus the 14.5.
The Bears.
Now, the main reason is kind of like I said before. I think Seattle's going to have this game in hand. They're going to be up 15 to 21 the whole game, but I think Chicago's going to score a late touchdown. Now, if that game was 13.5, I take Seattle, but with the 14.5, that extra hook is a huge in the gambling world. So I'm taking Chicago plus the 14.5.
Now, this is a Sunday night game, right? Detroit-Denver?
Yes.
Detroit is home. Denver, however, on the road is favored by 3. You're picking the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos. They've had 10 days off now because they played last Thursday, which is especially for the quarterback. Minus the 3 at Detroit. Detroit's a nice stadium. I think Denver's defense is really good. They got a good secondary. They got good guys coming off the edge. I think this is one of their better defenses that they've had, especially when Peyton's been around. This is one of the best defenses that Peyton has had over his whole career. With all that being said, it's a spotlight again. When these guys play in a spotlight, it's a whole different atmosphere. You got to take that into account. I think Denver wins this game outright. I think they cover the 3 points, so I'm taking Denver minus the 3.
And on Monday Night Football, you got Green Bay at home against Kansas City. Green Bay's favored by 6.5. You're picking the Packers.
Packers minus the 6.5. And they picked a great game on Monday night. They picked the best matchup of the entire week on Monday night at Green Bay. You're gonna see that Green Bay is the best team in the NFL. As we speak right now, Green Bay has, unless something, God forbid, something happens, Green Bay can punch their ticket right now to the Super Bowl because there's nobody in the NFC, the entire conference, that's going to overtake them.
So even though you had a sleeper pick of the Cardinals to make it, you're still going to go with Green Bay at this point?
Yes, okay. Because there's only 2 teams that can challenge them right now, and that's the Cardinals and Atlanta. Okay? Now, I don't see Green Bay. I see Green Bay going 14-2, 13-3. In order for them not to have home field advantage, a team has a game better than them. They have to be 14-2 or 15-1. I don't think Green Bay is going to lose that many games. I think Atlanta certainly is, and I think Arizona will lose to Seattle at least once. But Green Bay, no matter who gets injured, they lost their running back. Stark steps up and has 100 yards on the ground. Aaron Rodgers has that offense flowing. Just absolutely flowing and he's a great quarterback. Top notch. Brady or Rodgers, take your pick. Either one, you can't go wrong. But I think Green Bay is going to win this game. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I think they're going to cover the 7 at home against Kansas City. But I think going forward, I think Green Bay, it's their conference to lose, and I think it's going to be that way for the next 16 weeks.
All right, so now we're going right into our pick'ems. All right, let's start again Thursday night. Giants and Washington. Who do you have?
The Giants.
All right, I'm going to go with the Giants as well for the multiple reasons. One, even though the Giants are 0-2, they really should be 2-0 had they not shit the bed at the end of both games. And I think the Giants' offense is a lot better than Washington's offense, and I think the Giants' defense, secondary-wise, is shit. But Washington's offense is so banged up that no matter what, I think the Giants win at least by 10 at home. They finally get on the board. So we both have the Giants there.
Yep.
All right, next game we got St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Who do you have?
Pittsburgh.
I also have Pittsburgh. What they did to the 49ers was utter rape. I mean, they literally raped them. to the point where their asshole's bleeding.
Still. It still is.
And St. Louis with that, I don't know what the fuck happened. Who'd they play last week again?
St. Louis played at Washington.
Yeah, terrible. And I get St. Louis is at home, but I think Pittsburgh's offense is so fucking explosive that even though St. Louis's defense is pretty good, it doesn't matter. Pittsburgh's going to win this easily. And watch fucking St. Louis win by fucking 20. And next week we're fucking back looking like idiots. All right, Minnesota is at home against the Chargers. Who do you have?
San Diego.
This is a tough game for me because I picked San Diego last week, and what do? They shit the bed. The deal
They didn't
is
shit the bed.
against Cincinnati, I had them outright winning. They lost by 5.
It was a close game. It was up and down. Shitting the bed is what Philly did. Shitting the bed is what St. Louis did. Shitting the bed is what fucking New Orleans did. They played a good game. That's a tough place to play, remember. That's Cincinnati. They didn't shit the bed. They lost, but they didn't shit the bed.
Well, here's the thing. Minnesota... here's the thing. San Diego has a much better offense than Minnesota does, and obviously a much better quarterback. The defense, I'd give Minnesota a smidgen up on San Diego, but it's both shit. So the deal is, here's the key to the game. If Adrian Peterson can run against the Chargers defense, and I don't mean run like 3 and 4 yard carries. I mean 6 and 7 every fucking time for the most part.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot closer than you may think.
Yep.
San Diego still wins it. So I'm going to go with San Diego, but Minnesota will make a game of it if Peterson can run. If he can't run, Minnesota's in trouble. And big time. So I'm going to go with San Diego. You have San Diego, you said?
Yes.
All right, next up we got Houston at home against Tampa. Who do you have?
Tampa. I think Tampa is going to cover the spread. I think they're going to win this game outright. Like I said, I'm going to go against Houston on all. I'm going to, say I went with them all the last 2 weeks. I'm going to go against Houston. I'm taking Tampa Bay to win the game.
All right, I'm picking Houston, and here's why. Houston's defense with J.J. Watt and Will Fork, even though Will Fork's 1,000 years old and everything else, I think can shut down Tampa's. Tampa won. Let's put it this way: Jameis Winston easily could have lost the game. It would have been a ugly, ugly game. It was anyway. But I think it says more, like you said, what it says about New Orleans than it really does about what it says about Tampa. Houston's offense, they don't have a quarterback, so I still think Houston wins by 6. So I'm going to go with Houston. I think Houston, as long as Houston can get if Houston can score 17 against Tampa, if they can score 17 is the magic number. If they can score 17 against Tampa, they win. I think they win anyway, but they definitely win if they score 17. Jets, Philly, who do you have?
Jets.
All right, I also have the Jets. Philadelphia's a mess. And with the Jets defense, the way it's playing,
they're tough.
Philly can't fucking score against Dallas' defense. They're not going to score against the Jets.
With those 2 corners, Rivas is the real deal. He's the best cornerback of all time, in my opinion. He shuts down that entire half of that field. And, whoever their best receiver is in Philly, whether it's, Matthews
it's probably Riley Cooper.
Or whoever it is, just consider him not on the field because he's going to be covered like a blanket. So Philly and the Jets are only going to see what happened to them last week, and they're going to be all over Bradford. Yep. All over them.
Yep. It's going to be rough. Philadelphia's going to go to 0-3, and Chip Kelly could potentially get fired.
No, he's not going to get fired.
Well, here's the deal. I said
he's
this.
there for the year.
I said, well, yeah, for the year. He's not going to get fired midway through, but he's probably going to. If the deal is this, I don't know why Chip Kelly.
He's a great salesman.
Here's the deal. What did Chip Kelly do with this team?
Nothing.
They almost made the playoffs last year. And the only reason they didn't is because they didn't have Nick Foles. He was injured. Yeah. Mark Sanchez was in there. And did he do an okay job? He did okay. But the bottom line is he's not – he played better than he did with the Jets, but that's not saying much because the Jets were a debacle. The bottom line here is the following. He trades away Nick Foles. I think it was a mistake. I still think it's a mistake. And I'm not saying it's Sam Bradford's fault with what's going on, because it's not. Any genius can watch the fucking TV. Any idiot can watch TV and see the fucking Bradford has no time to do anything. But here's the problem. You trade away your best running back for a guy who only ran the ball the way he did because of the offensive line in Dallas. You don't have an offensive line in Philly. So the problem is, by the time Murray gets the ball, he's fucked.
Yes.
In that 2.5 second at the max span, as soon as you pick up the ball and you run from the shotgun offense, you're fucked.
Yes.
And so that's number one. So you trade away McCoy for a guy, Kiko Alonso, who, if healthy, keyword if healthy, monster. What happens?
Out for the year.
He is out for the year. Yeah. Okay, I didn't hear about that. I thought he was out for a few weeks. He's out for the year.
I believe so.
Okay, that's what I had heard too, but I still haven't read an article that states that.
Okay. Well,
but the deal is, he didn't tear his ACL or whatever happened. He sprained it this time. Sprained it. So I don't think he's out for the year, but he's pretty much done.
Yeah.
The deal is, now you fucking have no running back because you have no offensive line, whereas McCoy was a shifty fucker. Didn't matter, okay? Number two, your quarterback's worse, in my opinion, because you can't do anything, okay? So Chip Kelly tried to be too pretty.
Cute.
Yeah, and look where they're at, and you know, I mean, the deal is, and Philly's fucked. Okay, next game. So what are we talking about? New York, Philly. Next game, Carolina's at home against New Orleans.
Carolina.
Okay, I also have Carolina in this one. Been taking them all year.
And you've been winning all year.
Yeah, well, with them. Yeah, Jacksonville and Pats. Jacksonville. This is an easy one. New England for both. Yep. But the funny thing about the Pats, in games that they should annihilate an opponent.
Yep.
They, for whatever reason, make it a fucking nail-biter. I remember the Jets over the last few years, and it's Rex Ryan, and all that shit, but they give up 40 points here and 38 points here, and then we're fucking praying to God we block a field goal to win a game.
Well, I think with New England specifically that there's never going to be a better team that's more prepared, okay? There's no matter what, New England's going to be the most prepared team every single Sunday, and there's no one that's going to be better. I understand what you're saying. I think they're going to score. The way they've scored points at ease against a good Buffalo defense, against a good Pittsburgh defense, just at ease. It's just ease. You know, it's just like we're handed off to him. They get it too bad, out to Edelman, then you go into Gronk, and then you go into Deion Lewis, and then you got Blunt, and they're unstoppable. As good as Jacksonville's defense is, I don't see them unless they turn the ball over that this is going to be a game. So I know it could be a trap game, but it's not going to be a trap game. New England doesn't do trap games. They may lose when they should win, and people call it a trap game, but this is not a trap game. They're going to win. I think they'll win handily.
Okay, Baltimore, Cincy. Who do you have?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Cincinnati. Baltimore's defense is in shambles. Baltimore's offense is in shambles. They can't score points. Oakland, Cleveland. Cleveland's at home. Who do you have?
Oakland.
Okay. I wanted to comment on this before. I think Patine is making a mistake by starting McCown. Manziel is flashy. Manziel is a turnover. He could be a turnover problem.
Could be.
McCown is safety, yeah. But McCown is like the dog that lived to be 16 years old and can walk. And may have a burst of speed.
Yes.
In his, but the majority of that Cleveland's offense, I think it's going to stumble. And I'm calling it right now. If Cleveland gets down in this game by at least 14,
they're going to put Manziel.
They're going to put Manziel in. And that'll be the end of that.
Well, it's two different.
Oakland, so who did Oakland play against last week? I forget. Baltimore. Baltimore's defense is better than Cleveland's defense, theoretically, right or no?
Yes.
Cleveland's defense has always been good, though.
Decent.
They've been a staple. I'm going to go with Oakland in a close game. But if Manziel comes in, do not be surprised if I won't be surprised if Cleveland wins. All right, next up we have Tennessee at home against the Colts.
Colts. Just because of straight numbers, that Andrew Luck is 16-2 in his last 3 years against divisional opponents, and he's only 15-13 against the rest of the NFL. So that just shows you how bad that division is. Yes,
it also shows you how bad the division is. But Mariota, even though he didn't play that badly, they're at home, and I think the crowd in the beginning is going to rile up the Titans, and they're going to play. I don't see Indianapolis. Yeah, they played against the Jets. That was rough. Fair enough. Who did they lose to in Week 1?
Buffalo.
The Colts should, on paper, have a great offense.
They do on paper.
On paper, they do.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm not disputing that. The problem is they have no offensive line.
Well, they don't have an offensive line, and the thing with the Colts right now is that they have Andrew Luck. Everyone's anointed him as the next everything. He's already put him in the Hall of Fame because that's where he is. Everyone loves him. Everyone's all over his balls. Everyone and their mother. Andrew Luck is the best thing that ever came down the. Now Andrew Luck, granted, he's been in 11-5 his 3 full years as a quarterback, which is outstanding, but. He's limited. He's very, very, very limited. He has not what he has to do to break out, to be a Brett Favre, to be a John Elway, to be a Joe Montana, to be these guys that win games is a guy that you're big underdogs against the Pats, and then you go out and you single-handedly beat He beats the team. He's doing everything that he should be doing. But since we're putting him on a pedestal, he needs to do better. Now, with all that being said, I think he's a good quarterback. But have I seen him take over a game? The guy turns the ball over a lot. He throws a lot of interceptions. He fumbles a lot. I think they're in trouble right now. They're pressing. And I think they're going to win this game just because they have to win this game.
I'm picking Tennessee at home. Atlanta, Dallas, who do you have?
Atlanta.
I also have Atlanta. Dallas is it's a shame. 49ers, Arizona, who do you have?
Arizona.
I also have Arizona. The 49ers are fucking terrible. Seattle, Chicago. Seattle's at home. What do you have?
Seattle.
I also have Seattle. Jimmy Clausen is ugh. Denver, Detroit. Detroit at home.
Denver. I hope you're right.
You're picking Denver?
Yeah.
Denver's defense is really good. Really good. Detroit's offense is better than Denver's offense.
Well,
not
the last 2 weeks.
Well, should be. Well, Detroit scored 28 points. Or 30, whatever the hell it was against San Diego. So the defense just shit the bed.
Yeah.
So we're trying to talk about the defense here. We're talking about the offense. This is tough for me, man. Detroit's at home. I'm going with Detroit in a close game.
I hope you're right.
Well, for my sake, yeah. For your sake, you hope I'm wrong.
No, I hope you're right because I hate Denver. I hate Peyton Manning.
Oh, yeah, I hate Denver, too. Yeah. I hate Denver, not because I like Peyton Manning. I hate Denver because I've always hated Denver. I hated Mike Shanahan. I hated John Elway. I fucking hated Mike Shanahan. I fucking hated Mike Shanahan. Still hate him. Fucking, anyway, Green Bay's at home or Buffalo, Miami.
Sharp. Remember Sharp?
What, Shannon Sharp?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking.
Piece of shit, right?
Buffalo, Denver, Detroit, by the way, was a Sunday night game. I went out of order. Buffalo, Miami, who do you have?
Buffalo.
Let's see, Buffalo, Miami. I'm going to go with Buffalo as well because Miami should not have lost to home or otherwise. They should never have lost to home this week or otherwise. They should never have lost last week to Jacksonville. Ever. And Buffalo put up, and our defense sucks. But Buffalo has an explosive offense.
They do.
They have an explosive offense. And I don't see Miami's
Tyrod
offense.
Taylor's very good. They got deep threats, Percy Harvin, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
They can get down the field. I think Buffalo, they when they get over a team that's better than them, they're going to lose. But I think they can beat, 85% of the NFL.
And then the last game on Monday Night Football, you got the Packers discount double check. And then you got Kansas City. Who do you have?
Green Bay.
Yeah. That's an easy one. So, the games that differ between me and McLovein here, you have Tampa, I have Houston. Mm-hmm. You have Indy, I have Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Denver.
Only 2 games
I have
differ.
Denver, you have Detroit.
Oh, that's right, yeah. 3 games again differ this week. Steve Goldman, you're tied with me. We're a game behind McLovein. You have a shot to win $300 at the end of the year. So remember to put in your picks before kickoff on Thursday. Yes to anything that is awesome. And the other guy, whose name is, I forget. Let's figure this out. I wrote it down here somewhere, man. Is it here? No. Is it here?
Back in the middle sheet.
Is it here?
There. Yeah.
Yeah. Money in the Bank, that's who it is. Money in the Bank, and yes to anything that is awesome. You have to put in your picks by Thursday's kickoff. Once Thursday's kickoff hits and your picks aren't in, you're fucked. You're done. And that's the end of that fucking deal. But Money in the Bank, email me, andyvhb@aol.com, so I can get your address so I can send you a gift card out for beating McLovein. And anyone, I'm going to post this up next every week. If you want to win a gift card, you got to beat McLovein with your picks. So just message me on this video with your picks for the Beat McLovein Weekly Sweepstakes, and you can win a gift card. For those of you, however, that are in the season-long running, yes to anything that is awesome, you're up against Money in the Bank. And then Steve Goldman, you're up against me and McLovein. So again, put your picks on this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. You know the drill. Remember, Scratch Ticket Thursday will not be happening tomorrow. It will be happening next Thursday. We will come back with a brand new Scratch Ticket Thursday. We got some special things lined up for that. Zebras and houses. And remember, email McLovein at...
McLovein, M-C-L-O-V-I-N.
E-I-N.
That's what I said. L-O-V-E-I-N.
You missed the E.
No, I fucking know.
You want to bet? I can replay this video.
M-C-L-O-V.
Uh-oh. Something happened to the thing. It's blurry.
You fucking dropped it.
Yeah, well, anyway, we got technical difficulties. I'm going to bet McLovein, though, that he did not see the E on the first time.
You probably...
He
no,
did
you're
MCL,
right.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
Right,
now I just broke my camera. It's all blurry.
Guys, take this down. One thing before I go. This is the website we need to get you on. It's gtbets.com, okay? GTBets... Just Google it. That's where you're going to get your fastest payouts. They're going to give you, if whatever your deposit is, they're going to match the entire deposit. So if you deposit $500, they're going to give you $500 for free. Guys, this is where you start going. This is the fastest payouts. I'll assist you with picks, and you guys can make money if you want to make money. If not, then then don't. It's fine. I can take all the money. So
well, we're blurry. I don't know what happened. I got to fix this. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.